Welcome to another episode of Voicing Artists' Original Characters! Today we are working with a mad scientist. The artist's name is Spookii, or Spookiro, on social media platforms, pronouns she, her. The character we are working with today, her name is Ruiza. Now I've got some background and history from the artist, so let's get into that as we look at this beautiful, incredible, crazy-looking drawing. So, this drawing, first and foremost, is designed and inspired by Cubism. So if y'all don't know, Cubism is this art technique based around creating forms or shapes or ideas or concepts in very hard-edged, solid line shapes or cubes or rectangles or things like squares, things of that nature. And then it's putting these chunks together in order to form a solid image. This paper mache slash cut out of magazine pieces, sort of almost glued like they're a high school project to the background of this drawing. And they even come forward a little bit. The way that it's playing with dimension to where it looks like she's kind of sitting on some of these cutout pieces, and then those cutout pieces transfer to the floor in her image, even though behind her and these ones that sit over her hair feel like they're actual cut pieces of a physical newspaper, and somehow the chain also feels like it's drawn, and things are drawn but also realistic all at the same time. It's a really cool combination here. There is history that was established and a background that was established. Ruiza is a human experiment that successfully escaped from a laboratory. She is a mad scientist that likes to experiment with people. Her experiments are specifically done on the people in the organization that did the experiments on her. So anybody who worked for this, horrific lab that was using human subjects for their own experiments have essentially created their own worst nightmare. The setting is an imaginative steampunk world near the end of the Second Industrial Revolution. Now, I have 3 character description words from the artist: smart, ruthless, and slightly insane. But I want to take a second to look really at this drawing. Her brain is literally being shown to us in a glass jar sitting on top of her head. So you can see that there's also some sort of wire or device that's been attached to her brain. So the little thing that is on her brain is her other eye. Her eye under the red glasses is sort of in this position of like tantalizing, excited, ready to go. We've got that. I love her hair design. Definitely is the cubism. She has very little clothes on with a bunch of scars and stitchings. She also has this chain. So I'm guessing that this chain is probably her primary weapon, in quotes. She might not actually hurt people with it, like attacking them, but she probably uses it to like actually strap them down or carries it around with her for intimidation, things like that. Something I want to note is, yes, she's wearing very little, and that is most likely to be like, oh, look at all the things that were done to her. I think that that's in an empowering sense, for one, because she is now doing these things to other people. I am your recompense. I am your retribution. Reap what you sow. And so I think it's a bit of that, which will be a fun energy to play with. I also think she is proud of her work and what she does. I don't think this is a villain that is just taking revenge and doing these horrible things that were done to her to the people that did them to her. I think this is like entirely warped personality where it's, oh, all of these awful things were done to me, and now in some way, shape, or form, I'm really good at doing the horrible things. I'm good at the cutting and the burning and the slicing and the poking and the stabbing and the stitching. I know how to do these expertly because they were done to me. Look at how good I am at doing these things to you. So there's a little bit of like, it's pleasurable, but also I think there's a bit of warped pride because she is wearing a lab coat. And even though she's wearing very little, it's very nice. Those are nice stilettos. She's got a nice clean chain. She has bright pink clean fingernails. I really think there's this sense of I am the epitome of like the best at what I do. It's just that what I do happens to be, you know, slice and dice. Let me show you the other picture. This is more of a sketch and sort of a design thing here to get more of what she exactly looks like. And it gives us a bit more insight into the patches on her jacket here. It does look like a little bit less of a lab coat in this sketch and more of a very nice, almost overcoat. But again, it's still nice. It's patched together, sure, but so is she. So I think it's an honorable thing and she thinks it's presentable to wear. Her experiments in the bottom right corner, crying in pain, based on the cubism. I love this pose. The smarmy, happy, energetic, positive being of villainry is something she exudes. My descriptions for Ruiza's personality: sharp, nimble, resourceful, sadistic in her ruthlessness. She is not necessarily being cruel or torturous out of anger for what happened to her. It's a power thing. It's satisfaction. It's egotistical. It's narcissistic. It's I am so intelligent. I am so clever. I am so good at being, in quotes, a doctor, at being, in quotes, a scientist, that I was able to withstand all the things you did to me, to escape all of your facilities, to beat you at your own game, to where now you are my experiments, and I can show you the way it should be done. With all of that said, I think we get into the emotion. This drawing of her like in this pose of her sitting and her hip is cocked and her one leg's up and she's got her tongue out licking it all up, right? She's got someone on this chain that she's enjoying. That is what I want her happiness to be. She is witnessing her perfection. I'm gonna use this idea that she is talking about or looking at her experiments that she's done on people. I'm thinking for voice, we might make it a little higher pitched and we might match the energy of a more frantic character. Let's give it a shot. Happy emotion.
I couldn't have dreamed for something better than this. You really were the best patient, you know that? Every time I sliced and cut, your screams were magnificent. If only you had lasted just a little longer. But don't worry, my darling. You will go into the Hall of Fame as one of my best.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's the energy. That's the voice. I love her. For characters like this, I add this thing where they sort of go like, right, in the way that they breathe. And the reason why I do that is because it's giving you the effect of taking your breath away and being actively engaging in something without giving the energy that someone who talks really fast like this or talks really loud like that gives. You can still take that energy and that passion that comes to that type of a voice and give it to this type of a character. So I added that to her in order to get that feeling without giving her too pushy, because I really don't want her to be pushy. She looks rather frail and rather dainty. I think energy-wise, she's much more like a little more relaxed, a little more refined. So I like that a lot for Happy. So that means we move on to angry. So what is going to make Ruiza angry? I think she sees herself as the best version of what was being done to her. Where she's at this point where she's like, I am a master of my craft. Don't you dare tell me it's shoddy. Don't you dare try and tell me my work isn't good. I have the idea of what if she is torturing / experimenting on a hero or the hero of the story, and in order to sort of push her buttons and get it to be delayed in enough time for the party to come rescue him, he knows that his course of action here is to get her talking and get her angry. Okay, let's try angry.
What did you say?
Shoddy?
Did you just call my stitching shoddy? Well, you know, maybe you're blind because I don't do shoddy stitch work. Here! Oh, yeah, did that one hurt? How is this one for you? Any better? What about the lines on this one? Yeah, that's what I thought. I would suggest you don't question my work again. Okay? I mean, I know you're already blind, but I could still take out those eyes and make it official. Don't tempt me, pretty boy.
Oh, I kind of like that. That went in a way I did not expect. Oh my goodness. I thought she was going to be a lot more yelly. I thought she was going to be a lot more forceful with her anger. Like a character that would stab, 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 right? She was not. She was a lot more reserved than I ever planned for her to be in that moment. So when it started coming to even that section of like stab and stab again and go again, rather than it being like, "Rah, why did you make me angry?" It was bam, scream from hero. Bam, scream. Bam, say something again. It was paced, it was rhythmic, it was slow, it was defined. So was her anger. And what's interesting to me about that is that mimics what she does. She is a scientist. She is making slow, defined, rhythmic cuts and slices and stitches and scarring and picking things with tools. She's being very precise about it. You have to have precision in order to do these things. And that's how her anger went too. She was very pointed. She was very precise. She was a little heated. You could definitely tell she was angry, right? It came out very, very targeted and decisive. Really interesting how those two correlated and meshed. I did not plan it to happen that way, but it did. And it's just because naturally that felt right and it matches what we know about her character. I think her ego is a little too strong to be able to just stab him a couple of times and have that be enough. She has to be able to threaten him because those threats give back the power and control to her. And she needs that power and control after being a victim. She has to have it or she will start to crumble. That means we are moving on to our last emotion, which is sad. What do I think would make villain Ruiza sad? If she is all about doing these experiments, all about being precise and excellent, and having a bit of pride in her revenge and her work. And she gets angry if you tell her that her work is not up to standards or not up to par. And what would make her sad? Oh, I have an idea. So I'm thinking, what if she is able to like wreak havoc upon someone, a hero, whoever it may be, and they have this natural healing ability? That might make her sad. She's creating what she is taking pride and pleasure in enacting these things and creating this work of art. And then she comes back and it's all gone. everything is healed, nothing is permanently changed, I think that would make her really sad because it's like she can't complete her work. They're not affected by her. And I think that would make her really sad. Now, I do think this might lead into happiness, which is not something that usually combines. She would at first be sad that all her hard work in doing these things to people, doing these things to this person who heals, is gone, and that it'll never work, and that her masterpiece will never be done. But then she realizes, if he heals after I experiment on him, then I can just keep doing it forever. We'll see what comes out naturally. Let's do the sad. Here we go.
Good morning. Are you ready for another... What? Where? What happened? Where are my beautiful marks? My cuts? My stitches? My wires? My organs? Why are they gone? Heal? You heal? You heal? My masterpiece. It's ruined. Everything I worked so hard on. Every slice I measured to a D. And you ruined it. It didn't work. It'll never work. Fine. That just means we'll have to try again. We'll just have to keep trying until it sticks.
Oh, that was weird. I don't even know if I can describe all of the emotions that were in that piece. There was definitely sadness, right? Because it started off with like, oh my god, everything I worked so hard for is gone. Everything I worked so hard for is gone. And everything has to be redone. And what is this? And it didn't morph into happiness. I will say that. That was really, really cool. I can't describe it. I cannot describe what that feeling was, because it wasn't a feeling, it was a break. It was a literal mental break. And you can't describe, there is no singular adjective or emotion to be like, this is what it was. This is how I was processing it, because you're not. You're breaking. All logic, all emotions are thrown out the window, and you just have to function. You just go back to basic zero. We need to keep moving. And that is what she went back to, was nope, 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 we can't deal with this. We just do it again. If we do it again, it'll work. It's fine. It has to work. Well, that is the end of our episode here. That is our 3 emotions. We have been able to work and play with Ruiza. Again, this whole concept of cubism and her character design and creating a villain that is an experiment and has all these different mentalities of how does she justify but also not justify, and just her really inner workings of her brain being something that we haven't necessarily experienced or played with a lot, or at least not to this capacity. I also loved that it was able to change our mentalities and the way that we think, and really just throw logic and thought process out a window in order to step into her shoes, her fabulous stiletto shoes, but into her shoes. This was really cool. And I loved playing with her. I love this backstory that she has, the history, and I like my villains. So I find my villains a little easier to play with, because there's something about getting to go full force, passionate, let loose, embody a character when you're playing a villain, embody a mindset, embody a soul that is intriguing and fun, and it helps my improv, and I really love it. A big thank you to Spookii, Spookiro, on social media platforms. Thank you for letting us work with Ruiza. This character was so much fun to work with. You've done an imaginative and creative piece and character and world and created something that feels wholly its own and was really fun to experiment with. So thank you for that. Make sure y'all go follow her on all her platforms. I find my artist through Instagram, so you can go find her on there. Links will be in the description below. You can also join us live on Mondays at 9 p.m. EST if you would like to give your thoughts and opinions and help me with these characters. That is all. Goodbye!